Right.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
That's Karl.
And this is Emma. And welcome to another edition of Rittal unBoxed.
So then, second episode.
The difficult second episode. Yeah, we're here, aren't we?
We are. It's obviously, the first one obviously went well.
Yeah,
if we've not got a second episode. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're still here. We've not been taken off the air, so we're all right.
Just yet.
No, we've not got the Netflix special just yet either, but hopefully, eventually we'll get caught, yeah.
It was, the first one we received really well. So that's good to see. So, yeah, other topics today. Recap 2023. How was it for you?
Yeah, it seems like a long time ago, to be honest. We're already back in the swing of things, and 2024 is kicking off in a big way. But like you say, yeah, it's nice to look back and see what we've done and what we achieved last year.
But you were pushing heavily into the energy and power sector last year, weren't you? I mean, because that was a relatively, I wouldn't say it's not a new market for us, but it's been quite a new focus for us as a business. Yeah,
I think we've restructured sort of internally to focus more on these sort of sectors and things. Yeah, so we took a bit more of a magnifying glass to it. And I think what we started to do is we lifted up some rocks and looked at all the customers we already have and realised we're already seriously entrenched in that market. But on the flip of that, when I started going to exhibitions, reading media in that industry and things, that market is just skyrocketing. There's just so much opportunity in the UK, with the net zero targets and what the government's trying to do. There's so many companies coming out and new technologies, and nobody knows which horse to back. I
think that's the thing a little bit, isn't it? That there are so many companies involved.
Yeah.
They all want a piece of the pie.
Absolutely.
It's where do you focus your efforts to a certain extent?
Yeah, I think as a company of our size, obviously we can try to spread ourselves and provide our services to everybody, because that's quite nice about our products. You can use it in a very modular way. But like you say, when you go speak to these customers, there's some extremely clever people out there doing, really new sort of things in like energy generation or energy storage with hydrogen on the EV side of things. So yeah, this is the start of things, and I think 2024 and onwards we're going to see it just grow and grow and grow exponentially, really, for this 2050 net zero target and beyond. Yeah,
well, I think as well, everybody's got a sustainability policy these days as well, haven't they? There's a massive focus on it, yes, something's got to change, but I'd be interested in seeing what channels it takes. When we look at from a vehicle perspective, are we going to be running with the battery? Is it going to be hydrogen? Is battery actually, is it sustainable in terms of mining for these products that we needed for batteries? The infrastructure. If anybody wants to email us in at Rittal unboxed.co.uk and your opinions on that would be good to hear.
It'd be interesting to hear, yeah.
Because some of the information that I see from users of electric vehicles at the minute are saying that the infrastructure really isn't there. The people that's more sort of, using a vehicle within a town centre got no major issues, but I do a lot of mileage. At the minute, it puts me off buying an electric vehicle because I don't think there's anything out there at the moment that do what I need it to do in terms of just the distance. I have concerns about when I'm doing the distance, am I going to get to a service station and, there is a charging point available for me? Yeah. Is it working? Is there a queue? How much is it going to cost me? And again, realistically at the moment as well with the price of electric, is it worthwhile having? Am I actually saving anything? So I've got some my mindset at the minute is really up in the air whether an electric vehicle is all it's cracked up to be. And then we look at that hydrogen. Why are we not doing more about hydrogen? Because you hear that this is a fantastic solution. So why is the government not pushing on hydrogen? So yeah, I've got some real mixed opinions on it at the minute. I've got a trusty old Volkswagen diesel. It's amazing, I have to say. It's a Passat. You've got one as well.
I've got one as well, yeah.
My Passat at the moment does 1,000 miles to a tank of fuel.
Yeah.
I'll get nearly 70 miles to the gallon when I'm doing a long distance journey. Now, for me, that's fantastic. A tank of diesel costs me roughly £100 at the moment.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good value for money. What is the cost going to be in terms of me charging electric vehicle constantly? Like I said, what's the mileage I'm going to get? There's all the different vehicles out there, but for me at the minute, it's an absolute minefield, and there's no assurances. I don't want to be travelling on the motorway to find that I'm down to, 10, 15 miles to then pull up at the next services to find there's no ability to charge a car.
Yeah.
what, you know, it's...
You're right. I think range anxiety, as they call it, is one of the biggest things for people. I think, you know, if you're doing super long distances like, we tend to do, we do sort of big trips, not so often and things like that, don't we? And you need that, be able to just do it in one shot and things like that. It's an interesting one. I saw an article the other day, we might be able to pop it up on the screen, where we haven't actually hit the infrastructure targets we were aiming for in the UK. And like you say, it's coming. It's just coming, I think, at a slower rate. And the other thing is, like, when I've been to some EV specific shows for infrastructure, it's very much still a wild west. And I don't mean that in a sort of negative sense. What I mean is, like, there's no standardization yet. There's no leader or authority or single decider. There's all different types of charging pods.
Is there anybody governing it?
Yeah, exactly. I think eventually you will probably narrow it down to a certain few who will monopolise the industry, I would have thought, like you do with anything. But at the moment, it's still very much, you know, wherever I go, and I live in the sort of countryside, you know, the pub or the local restaurant or the supermarket and things, they all have different brands, they all look different, they all charge different, have different apps and things like that. And for people who are adopting these things, they want simplicity and be able to just do it quickly, maybe over one or two platforms. So there's some way to go, I think.
I think the other concern as well is, you know, I'm not going to name it, I'm not sure whether I'm allowed to or not, but there's a certain service station that I pass quite regularly on the M1, and a couple of times when I've pulled up and driven past, you know, where I've parked, I've walked past the EV charge points, there's covers on saying there's not enough supplying the grid for them to have their charging points available. And again, that's just like, that's why, how?
That's interesting.
They've actually put the charging stations in, and then they're constantly covered because they don't have enough supply for it. So again, you know, if more and more of these popping up over the country, is that going to happen elsewhere? You know, then you think about, well, if we're not able to supply that, you know, then we're looking at adding in other options to be able to supply the grid, you know, in terms of renewables, you know, wind power, solar power. It all just seems a massive minefield at the moment. So I know we have these sustainability policies as a country we want to try and hit, but are those targets realistic?
I don't know. I think the thing is, and you've hit on a good point there, when, you know, as normal people who, you know, absorb the news or whatever, when we think of energy, we think of the bits that make it, like you say, like your spinny turbine or hydro or whatever. But actually the backbone of it is probably what's more important, which is the grid, which is, you know, also having to rapidly upgrade and change it to meet all these new technologies. And the other thing is energy storage, because the problem, it's not a problem, but the challenge with energy is, you know, the wind is either on or off. When it's on, you need to either use it there and then or store it somewhere, and that's where these energy storage, whether you store it in battery banks, in big containers, you know, in big fields of them, or you can store it sort of using hydrogen and things like that. You need to store it so that you don't have those issues, because then when, you know, the whole joke we always say, when everybody goes home, turns the kettle on to watch Coronation Street, you've got that backup of power so that everybody can get what they need at that time. And don't get me wrong, the grid is amazing, and the way they're doing things, especially I went to an exhibition in Scotland, and what they're doing up there, they're really ploughing the money into, really, you know, they're quite ahead up there with their energy sort of attitude. But it's still a big challenge, and, you know, 2050 sounds far away, but it's not really. It's quite a gallop we need to, you know, take to get to these targets and hit what we want to try and hit.
I suppose we are still right at the cusp of it, really, aren't we? We're at the beginning of this journey, I suppose.
Absolutely.
But I think for me as an individual at the moment, the confidence isn't there for me from an electrical vehicle perspective to swap over at the minute, unless anybody else can convince me otherwise. Like I say, if anybody wants to come and argue otherwise, give me some pointers, you know, that when my Passat's ready to go, that if there's something else out there that'll do the job, you know, or send us your opinions in. Like I say, email us at rittalunboxed.co.uk. We'd be, you know, really interested to hear what people's thoughts are, what your experiences are. That would be really, really good as well. So please do send them in. But yeah, for me at the moment, there's still a lot of uncertainty. And like I say, it'd just be interesting to see how the infrastructure, like I say, in the governance and all of this sort of changes moving forward. But I say, for us, from a business perspective, it's been great. You know, we've been involved in lots of different projects.
Yeah, very unique projects. Yeah.
Like I said, there's lots of customers that we already have that's involved in this these markets, these industries.
Or they're diverging into those markets.
Yep.
That's what I'm finding. Like a lot of people who are, already been in the panel building industry, for example, for 35 years, and they're like, oh, hang on, I want a slice of that pie. Let me specialise into it.
Yeah, because this is not going to go away. It's going to happen.
Not.
It's just how long it's going to take for that journey. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for us as a company, it's been fantastic. I mean, one thing we did last year, when we were talking about recapping on 2023, we talked about we had a big push into the energy and power sector, but we actually had a big push on a product, which was our outdoor products.
Yes.
So the outdoor enclosures, but it was really nice because they seamlessly fit together.
They do.
A lot of this product actually goes into the energy and power market, which is really good. So for me, pushing on that market last year, the outdoor product range was a fantastic opportunity for us. It was also one of the things as well, I don't think many people realise that Rittal have had this portfolio.
Yeah.
We've had this portfolio for a number of years, but it's just been hidden away in the background a little bit.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, it's probably the best engineered products that we've got, I would personally say.
Well, I think it has to be as well, doesn't it? Because, outdoor, now you're not in under a roof, if you like, so you've got to take the cold, the heat, the sun, the rain, everything that the world is going to sort of throw at you. So it has to have that extra level of engineering. So no, you're totally right. And yeah, I've noticed that, whether it's a solar farm where all the enclosures are going to go outside with cooling on the side, or offshore and things like that, the outdoor really has to be tough enough.
It's been interesting last year looking at these applications that we've been involved in, like I said, within products. If anybody is interested in outdoor products, you'll find some guidance on this on our website. There's also some videos that Karl and I have done on YouTube. So again, if anybody wants any information, you just want to see a bit of an overview, then please feel free to go and have a look at them. They're I'd like to say they're pretty interesting. We think they are. Yeah,
and it is me. I just had a bit more hair back then. I've shaved it off since then.
So if anybody's interested in that, then do take a look. But yeah, so 2023 was a really good year. Lots of good new markets.
New horizons.
I was going to say new products, and it's not new products, but it's some of our existing products we've sort of pushed into these markets, which has been interesting. So what does 2024 hold for us?
I think more of the same in a way. I think now we're just gathering some speed, and I sort of feel that we're into 2024 now, and I don't feel like Christmas, we always make the joke, but I do honestly feel it was a bit of a blink and you'll miss it really. I don't think customers, like in other years, I felt like December was quite customers took a breath, and I could get caught up on things before 2024, but that's not what happened this year. I was working up to my holiday, and then January has kicked in, and customers are just back on it from full force straight on. So it's a good thing. I think the market's picking up again, and customers are trying to grab it with two hands. After probably a couple of bad years they had with COVID and things like that.
Yeah, I think we've been really lucky to a certain extent. Like you said, we've had quite despite all the news reports, I've never really felt that massive lull for us.
No.
We've weathered the storm, and from COVID, but in actual fact, all it's done for us, like I say, is opened us up to a new customer base. It's opened us up to new markets. We've looked at new innovation. So actually, I think it were a bit of a learning curve for us, but it were a good period of time. I think we're reaping some of them rewards now. Actually,
I agree. Yeah, and like you say, we're here to support customers, and as they've diverted into different markets and things like that, not just energy, maybe into like food and beverage and things like that as well. We're the blank slate sort of safe product that they can build around, and that's what we've done. Like you say, we've just taught them how to use our product in a different discipline, and that's worked for the customers, and obviously then works as a follow through for us. I
mean, that's always something that gets me as well, as in the food and beverage industry, and it was something a customer mentioned when I was on site once, that even in a recession, the food and beverage market still increases.
Yes.
And I think that they likened it to the fact that everybody still needs to eat. When you're in a recession, people can no longer afford the luxuries of, say, going to the cinema. So what they may do is buy a packet of sweets to have at home.
Makes sense.
On a cinema evening.
Yeah.
So actually, people, they're quite a relatively cheap treat. But obviously it's still food, and you actually see that increase as people spend more time at home, and it's just one of the things you don't think of. That market will ever increase, the population is increasing, so the food and beverage market's an interesting one, and one again we'll be looking at later this year as well.
Absolutely. And, you know, on a sort of similar note, it was like, you know, during the COVID break, and it sounds silly now, but, you know, people going out and stockpiling like toilet paper and things like this.
That was my mum. Just let everybody know, just in case there's a problem with her. That was my mother.
If you need any, ring Emma's mum. But joking aside, though, that factory probably had to work at, you know, double output it normally would, you know, to make sure it was filling their customers' shelves because of demand increases and things like that. So although we were all stuck indoors, factories were probably working harder than they would have done in normal times. And it's the same, like you say, we just had Christmas. You know, the Quality Street factory was probably churning out as many toffee pennies as it could. Is it toffee pennies in Quality Street?
I don't know. Just interjecting there, did you not see that lady? There was actually a woman that has made her voice heard and has refused to buy Quality Street in future because they now have paper packets.
Oh, what she wants the
people want the old crinkly plastic ones that you look through with your eye. Do you remember that as a kid? I
got to be honest, I'm not really bothered by the packaging. It's the thing inside that I'm into.
So am I,
but yeah,
you'll be surprised how changing the packaging. Some people don't like it. So from a shiny crinkly packet to a paper packet, they're not happy with.
All right, okay, I like it.
So what have you got coming through this year? Anything interesting?
Yeah. We had a big meeting actually in end of 2023. We had a big kickoff, and all the cooling product managers came together in Germany. It's really nice when we do that. Literally everybody from around the world. So I got to meet, you know, people from Brazil and America and Australia and stuff like that. And I still had the strangest accent. But no, it's really good. And we all sat together, you know, the leaders from HQ and things, and everybody who runs the product, just to talk about, you know, a big rah-rah session really, and show what new products are coming through. You know, the main one that's coming through, we've just launched our new Refirm software. So we've had our good trusty software that everybody uses for many years, but now it's on E-Plan architecture, and it's had some updates and a facelift and new features for the future, just to make it fit for the future. So we've done that, and that's out now and can be accessed. And the other thing we've got coming out in the first half of the year is a brand new range of fans and filters. Okay. They've already been debuted at shows and things, but they're going to be good. Yeah, it's just, again, it's a trusty range that everybody uses, and you can use in many different ways, but it's had, you know, new features, a facelift, and just basically just, you know, trying to make it ever so slightly better. So yeah, there's a lot to get on, and there's more coming in the rest of the year, but for now they're the main two.
That's good. And we've had the launch of the AX and KX stainless, so that completes the family of the AX and KX stainless range, because that came different to the sheet steel one, so they've come through now. So again, if you haven't converted over, then we suggest you move over from the AE and the KL range over to the AX and KX ranges. Again, you can find different types of tools online that can help with the conversion, so if you need assistance with that information's available. If not, then please get in touch with us. We can support you on that, so that's no problem. You know, we've got a few interesting things coming through later this year, so it's again, it's another. The one thing about Rittal is it's the innovations.
Oh yeah,
that's what's for me. It's that constant thinking ahead. What's next?
Yes.
What do we need to do next? Where do we need? You know, how's the market changing? How do we need to adapt? How do we need to adapt our products? So again, there's some really interesting innovations coming through later this year, which is good. It's
we like you say, we're driven by our customers, aren't we? And if they're using it in a different way, or they need changes to do so, that's where we move to.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got us into the half marathon.
Yeah, Run Rittal Run is the official title for it.
I think we need a sign.
A sign. Put a graphic on the screen.
Run Rittal Run. Have you actually been running?
Running's a subjective term, I believe. No, not as much as I would have hoped.
Have you actually been for a run in the last 4 weeks?
No, not in the last 4 weeks. No, it's not been a great period so far.
It is at the beginning of April.
Yeah, I do need to get onto that. It's not through lack of wanting. It's just with the Christmas break and work and personal things. It's just not at the moment. Just not.
This is going to be a tough challenge.
Yeah, especially with the hills at the start. But no, we'll do it. We'll smash it. We'll do. If anybody
wants to send any donations in just to see Karl pass the finish line, it would be appreciated. Which charities are we running for?
Yeah, so we've agreed now as a team we're covering what's called PACT, which is a Sheffield-based charity, and that's the Parents Association of Children with Tumours and Leukemia.
Okay.
And they're based just outside of Sheffield Hospital. They literally have their own sort of house. And yeah, as the name suggests, they support parents and children who are going through these things, and specifically, going through treatment in Sheffield Hospital and things. And they have this home with, respite, and kids can go chill out there and just basically get away from it all and things. So yeah, it's mentioned by one of our colleagues. So yeah, more than happy to support them, and we have a Just Giving page, and we just want to raise as much money as we can, really, and just do something good for charity. It makes everybody a bit healthier and makes everybody feel a bit better, really. So it's good.
So yeah, if anybody's got a few pounds you could spare for us, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I said, that. So there is a Just Giving page, so we can get the link put up on the podcast. That's not a problem.
Absolutely.
If people send anything in. So, but yeah, you really do need to get your running shoes on. Don't get me wrong. Mine's not been fantastic, but there has been some activity on Strava.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Well, we're going to Germany for a week, aren't we, for training with work. So I've said I'm going to take my trainers and we'll do some running in the morning or at night, sort of thing, while we're there. It's an excuse, isn't it?
Right. There needs to be some photographic evidence of...
photograph or a video of running down the road. Yeah,
so
down the road.
Yeah, we can do that when we're away.
That'd be cool, yeah. Right then, it's the end of the episode. So what we're going to do is we haven't got a guest here to attack with these today. So we're going to ask each other. So let me dip in here and get one.
As long as you don't ask me what I'm having for my tea.
Oh God, yeah. So if I picked that one out of here, that would be unbelievable, wouldn't it? Right. Okay. What is your favourite part of the job?
I would have to say it's training.
Training.
So when we're working with other colleagues, whether it be the sales team, the internals, I really do enjoy that aspect of passing knowledge on. I think it's really good. We do a lot of hands-on training, which again, a lot of people love that. So rather than just being sort of death by PowerPoint like it can be, I generally typically tend to make it hands-on where we can, or interactive at least. But I just really enjoy that. Seeing people like when they start asking questions, they get a little bit competitive with each other. You think, I'm doing a good job. You can actually see them, absorbing that knowledge like a sponge.
Starts to click.
Yeah, they do. And I like to see them excited by it.
Yeah.
So for me, training's a way of getting everybody motivated, working as a team, and just getting them... Sometimes it's not all about the fine detail. It's like the bigger picture. But yeah, sort of making things competitive, having a little bit of fun with it as well. There's nothing worse than when people feel, oh God, I've got to go to another training session. So for me, it's about getting them inspired, getting them excited, getting them motivated, creating sort of a camaraderie and a team with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you do that, and they come away and they've had a really good time, that's when they start to remember things. Yeah,
they associate it with a good time, and then therefore it sticks in the mind, doesn't it?
Yeah, so that's typically how we try to conduct. Obviously, we can't do everything that way, but we try to conduct our training in that manner. And we've got a lot more of that to come this year as well. So there's going to be a lot more hands-on sessions for the teams, which they'll all be here. They'll be pleased to know once they've seen this podcast. You'll be getting more hands-on training. So for me, I think it would be the training side of the job.
That's a good answer. Yeah, I like that.
So does that mean I get one? You do, obviously.
So. Here we go. We haven't seen these before, so.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
What is the least favourite part of your job?
What is the least favourite part of your job?
The least favourite part of your job.
You know what? That's easy for me, actually. Because on the cooling side, it's saying no to customers, which I do quite often.
Right.
Which I know sounds strange, but I'm a stickler. My job is to make sure the customer gets the right solution they need. And a lot of the time, it's not the solution they want.
I get that.
Do you get what I mean? So they might be like, I want to use X, Y, and Z, or in my mind, I've decided I'm going to use this, and I have to sort of talk them away from the ledge. No, you can't do that. This is why you can't do it. This is what you should use. And most customers are like, okay, great. I've got reasoning behind it now. I'm happy to go with you. But some customers are sort of, bullishly set on, I want to use this. And we then have to be like, well, it's not the right thing to do. And it could cause you more problems in the future. But I still stick to that, point that, and whenever as you mentioned training, whenever I train new people, I say to them, if you can sleep well at night and know that you've given the customer the right advice, even if they choose to ignore that advice, you've done the right thing.
I get that. There's only so much that you can actually do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can lead a horse to water. You can't make it drink.
Yeah.
But like I said, I get that. You don't like saying no to a customer, but it's for the right reasons.
Correct.
Sometimes.
But sometimes I think it scuppers their plans because in their minds they've gone forward and said, oh, I'm going to use this cooling. And then I go, actually, you shouldn't use that. You should use this. So sometimes.
It might be your least favourite part, but it's not a bad reason. You know, it's actually for the right. Well, it's for the right reasons, but it's with good intentions. So
it is. Yeah. But I'll go with that one.
Okay.
So thank you very much for watching this episode, and if you've got this far. Emma, what have we got for the next episode lined up?
So we've got our vertical market manager for rail and telco, Yannick. He's going to be on the show with us.
Yeah.
So Yannick is looking at the rail landscape. We're going to be discussing HS2, different events that we're doing for rail throughout the year. So yeah, be interesting to speak to Yannick. And I think there's a lot of people think it's a bit of a dark art, you know, so maybe you can dispel some of the myths surrounding that market and that industry sector. Yeah, so yeah, be interesting to speak to Yannick, see what his thoughts and opinions are.
It will, because people have a lot of opinions about rail, you know, even as a person, you know, in the news and things as well, don't they? So there's a lot of turning wheels there. So it'll be an interesting talk with him there.
Turning wheels.
Yeah. So thanks for watching anyway. If you've enjoyed this, keep an eye out on socials for the next episode, which comes out on the 12th of Feb. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.